So, is it time to say goodbye to sports cards? What if I told you that the golden age of sports cards might be over? With the market ever changing so fast, it's hard to say and hard to see what the future is going to hold. In today's video, we're asking the really tough question: is it time to say goodbye to sports cards for good? Now, as we run through these different factors, I'm going to kind of chime in and say, do I believe that? Yes. Will it affect it? Or will it not affect it? And at the end, I'll try to wrap it up and see what I think. And then I want you to do the exact same thing and say what you think in the comments as well, on whether you think the golden age of sports cars is complete. Is it still going? Is it going to be get better? Is it going to get worse in the future? And I'm really here just to kind of guide you in the right direction, but I want you to really comment and talk about what's going on. So the first thing that I wrote down was market decline or stabilization. What I mean by that is the first thing that I wanted to talk about was collector burnout. I mean, just looking at tops, they have this tops like there's eggs now or something like that, right? There's so many different variations of tops this and tops that, or of like upper deck or Bowman or whatever, right? A Panini. There's so many different variations. If you're like a new collector or even an old collector or a seasoned collector, it's very overwhelming and getting very expensive. We're going to get into in a second, but very overwhelming. And it's hard to stay on top of all these new releases every year or every month or even every week. And that just reminds me that we're doing a sports card insider club where if you comment insider in the comments, we'll send you a link, and that link will provide you with an email address, and you supply your email address, and we will supply you then with release dates every month on when things are coming out. It's so hard to find online where these things are at. So we want to kind of compile this information for you guys to help you in one certain thing to find in the email, so you can see when like the NHL Upper Deck Series 2 is coming out, or the Topps 2025 updated series, or not updated, Super Series 2 may be coming out, in a few months, and so on and so forth. So it's hard to find all these things and where they're coming out. So reminding me about releases and how things come out so fast and some of the different variations, it's hard to stay on top of these things. So if you comment insider, put your email address in there, we will provide you with a nice and easy thing to look at. So collector burnout. People get burnt out so fast. I know I've seen this just through interacting with you guys on here and how a lot of people are not collecting anymore. I know that's kind of like probably like a small majority, or it could be like a middle majority, whatever it is. But people are not really in the right mindset of collecting anymore because the prices are so high. So that goes into price fluctuation. High profile cards are they stabilizing? Is it going up? Are they going down? I mean, just from the Topps now with the Paul Skeens and the Jackson Holiday and the Elly De La Cruz, just for baseball, for instance, those cards. I mean, the Elly De La Cruz, man, that sold for like $120,000 for a card. I remember seeing like Honus Wagner for the first time, and his card, like when it sold back when I was a kid, and it was sold for like, I forget what it was when it first sold, maybe like $500,000 or $600,000. I'm like, that is crazy that a sports card can sell for that much. Now you have like the Paul Skeens card. What is that going for now? And the Jackson Holiday and these Topps Now things that are one-on-ones, and they're like outrageously kind of like millions of dollars some of these cards are going for. So it's crazy that I would never thought when I was a kid that cards would be selling for $1 million, and here we are now, in 2025, and cards are selling for $1 million. So that just boggles my mind that things are happening like that. So price fluctuation, is that affecting the market? Market oversaturation. Going back to the first point, like there's so many things that are out there now. Like what do you buy? Do I buy the Topps Chrome? Do I buy the Topps regular? Do I buy Bowman 2025 when it comes out? Do I buy Big League Baseball? And they're all like, it's just so hard to see and so hard to buy and stay up with the collection. Like if you're a collector just trying to get the base card collection, I mean, it's a lot of money to shell out to get these things, and it's a long process, and blaster boxes are not cheap anymore. So the oversaturation of these markets, that's a very important topic on maybe saying goodbye to sports cards. Now, the one thing that really irks me, I'm sure maybe it irks you too, is like I may find like a insert card, and the insert card doesn't have a number on it. And then I look online, I'm gonna say, oh, how much money is this going for? The non-numbered one is like $5, right? And then if you have like a numbered one out of 10, which is literally the same exact thing, just has a number on it, it's worth like hundreds of dollars, right? I know there's Aaron Judge I got the other day. It was like, I forget what it was, the top 2025. And I'm like, oh, it's probably pretty good. It's like worth, it was worth like $3, $4. And I looked online, the ones that are ranked or numbered, right? I always say ranked, but the ones that are numbered, it's worth like $1,000. I'm like, that's crazy. Just you put a number on there with the exact same card. That's just oversaturation without a doubt right there. The last thing in the market decline or stabilization that I wanted to kind of talk about was resale trends. Like, is the card show attendance, is it going up? Is it going down? I've been to many card shows over the last year, 2 years, and the attendance was outrageous. There's people all over the place. So the attendance is definitely up. The interest is definitely up, but I didn't see a lot of people just buying things. I just saw a lot of people just walking around. This was a card show around my town. So maybe I'm like in a little niche that's not really overall, but maybe if you have seen card shows or been to card shows, have you seen a lot of people like walking around with bags and things like that, or people out buying stuff, or are they just walking around just taking everything in and buying like little things here and there? Like, what's the deal? What do you guys see? So share that in the comments. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. So market decline stabilization. What do I think? Do I think that is it time for us to say goodbye from this? I would say no for this part, but maybe what do you guys think about this part? Is burnout, price fluctuation, market oversaturation, resale trends, is that affecting it? Is that making people say, I'm done, right? I would say no, but it's a kind of like almost like a 60-40 no. So next thing is rise of digital cards like NFTs. Digital cards have been going up in popularity. I mean, on the computer, my daughter has like a Pokemon game and they have digital cards there, and you open up digital packs and then you battle against other people, right? So digital cards is there now, and that's the rise in popularity is very important, and they give you little things there you can scan, you can get cards, you can open packs online and stuff like that. I know like MLB The Show and NHL, you can get cards on there and put them in your NHL and your NBA and games. You can have cards in there to put up packs and pay money for them, where you're not getting anything in return, but you're having it digitally. So that is big over the last few years that they've been doing. Comparing digital with physical. I mean, I'm old fashioned. I'm not that old. I'm 43 years old. Not I think I'm 40, but I'm 43 years old, and I prefer physical. I prefer going to the store and buying physical games. If I'm getting a game for the Switch or the PS5 or the computer, I'd rather, instead of downloading it, I'd rather just get the physical game and have the cartridge. But I'm just old fashioned. My son has no idea about that stuff, and he's only 13, right? So I mean, he doesn't know about buying games. But I try to say, okay, this is cool to get the game, and you put it in there, and you can stack them all up and see what you got and stuff like that, instead of having like the actual overall just on your system and not even knowing what you got. So, comparing digital and physical, like, what do you think? Do you rather have physical games? Or physical cards, or would you have digital cards, or even games? So you can comment too, because we game a lot and stuff like that, and talk about that stuff a lot too. Blockchain does offer security. It does offer authenticity, but would you rather have something on your phone or your computer, or would you rather have something that is in your hand, you can actually touch, show, feel, put in your boxes, put in plastic, send the PSA, get graded? What would you rather have? So let us know in the comments. In this part, in the rise of digital cards, I would say they're not overtaking sports cards just yet. So I would say no for this one. But maybe, what do you guys think? Do you think that in the future, is the digital cards going to take over, and you're going to have like very, very small majority, like people that are over 40 now, maybe are they're like the last collectors of actual physical cards, and then the kids are collecting digital cards now. So it's hard to look at. It's hard to figure out. It's hard to look into the future and see what's going to happen. But they are rising with NFTs, especially. So they are rising. Shifts in popularity is my third point. What I mean by this is like generational shifts. I'm in like the transitional. So my generation is, I guess you could say my generation is like we had physical and then we have digital. We had no phones and then we have phones. So we can kind of see the light before the end of the tunnel, and how are old and new collectors, how is it shifting in popularity? I think young collectors are looking at all these big cards and trying to get these big cards and selling big cards instead of collecting more. You're going to have more of the older collectors collecting, but you have some variation, of course. But I think, just if I'm taking a poll of like all the people that do this, like under 30 and then over 30, I think the under 30 is going to have more shifts in like popularity and trying to get, these big cards and big game cards and these hype cards compared to just like collecting in the first place. So that's one thing I kind of wrote down and then kind of talked about in my head as I was trying to talk about you guys. Player versus team trends. Does media coverage, do they just focus on popular players and performance? And does that sway the overall value of all these cards? Does that create an unstable market? It's hard to see, right? But like, they're focused on LeBron, they're focusing on Otani and Yamamoto and all these guys, right? And you're trying to get those cards, and then the people that maybe are batting ninth or batting eighth that are very important to the team, their cards aren't really going that much because they may hit 4 or 5 home runs a game, but they're a catcher and they're so important to the game. And the media is just focusing on the home run and the OPS and the slugging percentage, and then the guys that bat 300 and hit 4 home runs but steal 20, 30 bases, the general guy that used to be so great for your team. What is happening now? So, I mean, is the media overhyping the players, right, but not the right players? Not the right players, but more of the players that are just hyped up. And is that affecting card value? So, shifting in popularity, in this section, I say yes, because I definitely think that popularity is shifting, and younger kids are looking at cards differently than the older generation of 30 and over or 40 and over. So what do you guys think? The second to last thing I wrote down was social media influencers. How do they influence? What is happening? What is happening with the hype machine? Okay. Cards, are they getting overvalued? Like, who's going to pay $120,000 for an Ellie De La Cruz card? I mean, I would never pay that, for just one card of a one-on-one. That's just crazy that $120,000 that could go to a lot of other things for the house and for the kids and things like that. So, I mean, will that push people away? Does it like saying like, oh, I can't pay for this? And is that hyping up blaster boxes? Is that making the influencer role? Is that, inspiring, or is it contributing to inflated prices? So there's a lot of things that are going along with social media influencers, that may be good for that would be good for the product and good for the actual hobby, but also bad at the same time. So, like, what do you guys think? Is it a business now? Like, try to predict in like next 20 years, is the hobby going to be more of a business than just like a hobby? Are you looking at getting paid to get money and things like that, instead of just collecting with your family and friends and building that nostalgia and that community? You are building a community with social media influencers, but I don't know. I think it's just going to shift big time in popularity and how the community is engaging and things like that. And how that, I mean, it does allow people to connect, from people from Japan, people from wherever, and it allows people to connect all these different places. But like, at least more than when I was a kid. But is that going to outweigh the hype and the money value? So I'm not sure. So here I'm kind of torn. I'm 50-50. I'm saying yes or no. Is social media, is it making cards say goodbye? I would say 50-50. I'm not really sure here, right? It is good sometimes. It is bad sometimes because it's overvalued. The hype's going up and the prices are going up. But, at the same time, you're getting, people out there that are maybe not actual collectors and not really going to ever collect, but they're looking at, getting into sports cards. So, I mean, it's a big jump. And, I'm not sure if I know the answer. I'm not sure anybody knows the answer. But that's why I'm kind of 50-50 with that one. The last one I said is hobby versus investment dilemma. We went from a niche investment, like an investment class, to is that hurting? Is going from niche to an asset class, is that hurting? Like, a niche was sports cards. Like, we used to go to sports cards and we would trade them, things like that when I was a kid. Now you're getting money and you're getting hundreds of $1,000s for these things. Is that hurting the hobby? Is that helping the hobby? Flipping from long-term collecting, is flipping hurting the hobby? Topps Chrome updated series. People were flipping those boxes for over $100 before the skeins got pulled. You know, Donruss Optic. We were trying to find boxes over the summertime, and people were selling the blaster boxes for $80 and the mega boxes for $150, and they were just $30 a piece for the blaster box. So, I mean, is that hurting or helping the hobby? Big money impact. How are the prices going up? So, like this section, I definitely said yes. Like if you're just concentrating on hobby versus investment dilemma, all these prices, all this hype, all this flipping, I definitely think that is hurting and making people say goodbye to the actual hobby. So let us know what you guys think. So going back over, I'm kind of split. I'm saying more no. I'm probably like no 60 and yes 40% of the time with all these different factors. I'm sure there's more factors than that I didn't really get into. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that it's time for us to say goodbye to cards? Why do you think that? Is it time for us to say, am I just overreacting? Usually I go, oh, you're overreacting, right? Well, whatever. But I'm just trying to figure out, what's going on and what's going on with the hobby and trying to get your feedback in the comments as well. So that's the most important part is comment. What do you guys think? And again, if you want to go to that Insider Club, shoot us Insider in the comments as well. And we'll get you that link so you can put your email in there. So let us know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll talk to you guys later. We appreciate you guys watching all the time, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.